now?
We're live. We're live.
We're live on the YouTube universe, doing our second show on YouTube this week. That's the wife getting here. She will be on future shows with some short skirts on and some high heels, she promises.
Very revealing.
So she'll be on here at some point. But this is our Twitter show, our Saints and Sinners Sports Talk down from New Orleans, Louisiana. Obviously, we got some shit to talk about. With the
some shit went down.
Sunday.
I've been talking to everybody, and everybody's pissed. I see people that are so passive want to beat people up right now.
It's a pretty aggressive, upset culture down here right now. I mean, we went from being, a game away from the Super Bowl, everybody smelling that second championship in the 10-year period, to just
a good friend of mine,
wild weather.
A good friend of mine, Lonnie, we spoke about the Saints more than we ever have.
That's it. Like people who weren't even major Saints fans are really getting nuts about this right now. I guess we want to go into the fact, obviously we know what happened. We know what happened in the end, but we want to cover a little bit. We'll play devil's advocate for a minute here, and we're going to talk about some things the Saints could have did a little bit better in this ball game. We're diehard Saints fans. I've been a Saints fan since the mid-'80s, as a small child. So it's not a hate on the Saints, but we're going to critique a little bit. We are going to do that. I know we talk about the first two drives of the ball game.
Yeah.
We go down, march downfield, open and drive. I could live with 3. You go out and score 3 points.
You put points on the board.
But the issue to me is you had that turnover. The Davis interception happens on defense off the Gurley.
The crowd is ready to end the game right here.
You have a major pivotal moment. I know people are going to say, "Oh, we were up 13-0 in this ball game. It should have been 20-0 or so in this ball game, possibly 21, depending on whatever happens." But you had a golden opportunity. You had an interception, a turnover on their 16-yard line. You're up 3-0 right now.
16 freaking yards.
Now, before I go into a bad call that happened early in the ball game, I want to say this: the Saints, I don't think they approached to move the ball 6 yards there. Just wasn't enough. Obviously, you had the 16-yard line. You have to cash in right there for a touchdown. And to me, this is a decision I think Coach Payton.
I mean, that's a layup. That's
you got to go.
That's alley oop right there.
You got to
try to help you end the game.
You're one of the elite offenses in the league, and you can't move the ball at the 16. The Rams got out the field celebrating. I mean, that was a moral victory of sorts for them.
They were happy.
Come on.
That was the biggest turning points in the game, besides the play that we'll talk about a little bit later.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it should have been a 2-possession ball game at that point. It said 6 points. I mean, you go down and score Todd Gurley or Brandon Cook's touchdown. Guess what? You're winning the ball game at that point. You had the lead. But to me, 6-0. That's inexcusable to me. The offense should have did more right there. I know there was a missed call there I want to get to in a second, but I think we should have went for it on 4th down. I love Sean Payton, but I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. I think that's one he would like to have back.
Doing that
4th
much,
down and 4.
Doing that much and still being 1 possession away. They score a touchdown and you're down after all that work you did, you did on offense and defense.
That 3 did nothing. Now, there was 4th and 4, I think you had so many options. They couldn't cover Kamara most of the ball game on the backfield. It was mismatches. He was matched up against linebackers, defensive ends. I like to play with Kamara right there. I trust my quarterback. I mean, Michael Thomas for a 5 or 6 yard route, maybe somebody else. But 4th and 4, I think up 3-0 right there. You're playing with house money right there after the turnover. I think you have to go and try to cash this thing in for a touchdown.
I mean,
and make it a 2-possession.
Honestly, I feel like 3-0 and 6-0. Those are negligible.
It's meaningless. Yeah, it's meaningless at that point.
It's still 1 possession. You have to get up by 2 possessions right there.
And unfortunately, there was a moment in that ball game, and not to put too much on Dan Arnold. I like Dan Arnold as a prospect going forward, but Dan Arnold had a ball that probably, and like I said, it was a great effort. I'm not saying it wasn't, because when it first went up and that ball was in the air, I thought, oh, this is bad. I mean, it was 2 defenders near the play. It was middle of the end zone. I mean, and Dan Arnold almost makes a really nice play, but it's a play. You look back, and he was upset on the sideline. That's a catch that you have to make. The defender didn't touch the football. He came down with the ball. He lost it after he hit the turf.
And as much as we hate the Patriots, they always come up with those kind of catches.
That's the difference when you win the Super Bowl.
That's the difference between winning the Super Bowl and not winning the Super Bowl.
And that was a huge play. I think that's, to me, one of the top 3 plays in this ball game that didn't work well for the Saints that caused the outcome that we.
No, I mean every run you have memorable catches, and if you're not coming down with those key moments.
And the first bad call I want to get to on those 2 drives too, Traquan Smith was in the slot. He was basically hugged by one of the Rams defenders. I think it was Roby Coleman. I'm almost positive.
No, Roby was holding all game.
He was holding that dude.
I think the refs told him, like, hey,
you
just
can get away with anything.
do
that
whatever.
Must have been his uncle or something, that other ref. I mean, we know about the ties to Los Angeles, but
I mean, he looked like a freaking cage fighter out there.
Coleman was sexually abusing our receivers at certain points.
That kind of shit wouldn't even be allowed in the Catholic Church.
No, that's what I'm saying. That kind of shit gets you arrested in some red states.
But, I mean, you even get arrested on Bourbon Street doing some of the shit he's done.
That's what I'm saying. Look, here's my thing, man. You got to call that. Traquan Smith and Troy Aikman, that dumbass. Sorry, Troy, you're a great quarterback.
White Jay-Z.
You are becoming one of the worst color commentary guys in the league right now. Aikman has been terrible for the last 2 seasons.
Good thing he wasn't the Cowboys. You know how that game would have went.
That would have. I mean, he'd have been like the local station. The letter after the first quarter to the NFL.
Oh,
I mean, all the shit that how hard he rides the Cowboys. I mean,
listen to him call a game. For the Cowboys is like listening to that guy call a game for the White Sox.
That's awful. God, Hawk Harrelson drives me up the fucking wall.
That's like NBA TV when
he's one of the worst announcers in all of sports.
That's like when you have the NBA package and you tune into different media markets and you see how biased they are for the team.
God, it's horrible. So,
this is a
national game. This is a fucking national game.
Having a little slant. Dude, I know you're the home squad, but like
Joe Buck,
it's one thing between calling having a little slant and fucking just being propaganda.
The great ones can do that. I mean, I see that
people like with eyes.
Brian Anderson's a really good up and coming broadcaster. He does Brewers baseball, but he's done Cubs playoff games. He does basketball. He does some TNT basketball at the NBA. And he, I know this guy because with MLB Extra Innings, I see him with the Brewers, and they're homerism, which they have the right to be. Everybody, should have the right to be homers, in their own network. But I've seen that guy do Cubs games outside of that, and he does it brilliantly. Joe Buck, same way. Cardinals, Cubs rivalry. He did the World Series, and his call at the end was brilliant. It was his call at the end is memorable to me. He did it. He served the Cubs justice. He could have said, "Oh, I'm being an asshole," and just kind of take a little. I mean, you couldn't take the moment away. As Cubs winning the World Series for the first time in a very long time, but he did his best. He made it. He was a professional. That's the fucking difference.
He was a professional. Lined up before it happened.
Troy Aikman with his bullshit, and I don't know if he's just losing it. Because, I mean, to me, like we said, we say this all the time, out of 3 Cowboys former players, Romo is up here. Aikman's kind of falling down here, and Witten's about down here.
Oh, Witten is the worst.
2 of those 3 need to go, in my opinion.
He's the play calling equivalent of that referee.
Yeah, it's pretty
we'll
bad.
Get to that in a minute.
but to me, Aikman, and where we got started on this whole Aikman jump was the Traquan Smith play. He was held, obviously. It was 3rd and 7, I think, or 3rd and 6, whatever. He's 1 yard basically past the marker, right at the marker, so it's beyond 5 yards. The defender hugs him, does this, and then locks. And Aikman says, "Oh, that's a good play. He has a right to his position." No, this isn't fucking basketball. Fantasy Jesus, we had this conversation as well, me and Highlander, and he says, "Dude, it's not basketball. It's not like Anthony Davis is dribbling a lane and somebody gets over and gets position and you're entitled to your position. No. It's more than 5 yards downfield. The ball just left Drew Brees' hands, and you put a fucking bear hug on him like you goddamn Big John Stud back in the 1980s. Yeah. That dude, it's not. There was no way that should have been called. The ball is in the air. You showed a replay, and Troy Aikman says it's a good defensive play. Horse shit, it was. That play isn't talked about nearly enough locally here in New Orleans and the metro area.
No, they shouldn't be.
That's one of the biggest plays in that ball game. That keeps.
I mean, he didn't take him out to dinner. He didn't take him to the movies or nothing.
No, and exactly. He just basically molested him. But, I mean, give me the illegal contact. Give me anything. Defensive hold. I mean, you could take your pick. It could have been pass interference because the ball was en route. I mean, it could have been any one of those 3. Even if you don't want to give the spot of the foul, whatever, give me the fucking automatic first, because that would have been huge right there. How many times you see a game where it's 3rd and 18 and they call illegal hands to the face 30 yards on the opposite side of the field?
It's almost like it's preordained they're going to score a touchdown.
How do you miss that call with the ball going to that player in the middle of the goddamn football field? How do you miss that call when a guy hugs him past the first down marker when it's 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7, whatever it was?
No, I mean, and they just got away with, pass interference the whole game.
Oh, they were holding the whole fucking, just like the Dallas game. And to me, like the Dallas game.
Those guys are not that good in coverage. And this ain't all about the Saints that many problems.
And no, they're not. And the officiating's been so bad this year in the league, because to me, it's not just the Saints games. I watch a lot of football. We all watch a lot of football. And The Dallas-Philadelphia game after the Saints Thursday night game with Dallas, that was one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen in my life. The onside kick in the ball game, clear recovery, they send it to New York and everything, still gives Dallas the ball. Crucial play in that ball game. Towards the end, I think it was it Goddard or Ertz? I think it was Goddard. They call it offensive pass interference. Oh my God, negates a huge play. That was a whole, but it was just those are two that stands out to me. But it was a horribly officiated game. Their defenders getting away with hands. There's holds that being missed, on the line. That was bad.
That's
really
almost
bad.
That's almost like a tell right now.
Yeah, and
when officiating is giving away, like letting people hold people, it's almost like a tip of the hand. Like we want this team to win because
it sucks because it shouldn't be this way.
You watch like 80% of it, and you watch guys get penalties when they face guard. If they're not looking, that's automatic. They're not looking for the ball. They just ran into somebody.
The
that's
really bad.
Automatic. In 90% of the games we watch.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a joke right now that something has to be done. I think the CFL rule could come into play with challenging. I think you should be allowed to challenge one penalty per game at least.
I still think some of this,
because pass interference is the most. Let's be real. It is the most controversial penalty. I mean, I think roughing the passer was there, but we know what you're going to get for a quarterback now. If you put a hand on a quarterback. They should usually get the foul.
I tweeted out a video of what constitutes as, roughing the passer to Tom Brady, and it was a guy reaching over to try to grab him, and he tapped his shoulder pad, and that was 15 yards, and that was a huge part in that game. But referees are just making too much impact on these games.
And that sucks.
When they say let them play, they don't let them play because they're letting them
teams get away with
crimes crimes happen in the backfield.
Great point. And that's the thing, because letting them play means a team is getting an unnecessary advantage that's not as good. I mean, Roby Coleman, whatever the hell his name is,
fucking terrible.
He's not good at all. He's awful.
He's not even good at lying to the media because he told everybody.
He stated, I heard the crowd yelling. I figured that was a flag on me. I knew it was a flag on me.
He's just bad at everything he does.
You give a mediocre guy or below average guy coverage ability when you allow him to get away with that. So that's why I don't like the whole let him play philosophy. I like consistency. I don't want to see one team getting 12 penalties, another team 2. You have to have a little more of a smaller number in between.
And I counted at least 3 helmet-to-helmets that were allowed.
Helmet-to-helmets have been. I think they've been.
That Josh Hill play where he got injured.
Concussion.
No helmet-to-helmet, no targeting, no nothing.
Kamara earlier this year against Dallas. I mean,
I'm just talking about in this.
I'm saying, but I mean,
game,
absolutely. But I mean, the helmet-to-helmet's been missed. For some reason, I understand protecting the quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks have been overly protected, and I think the helmet-to-helmet on some runners, some skill position players has not been called nearly enough. And I don't want to see more flags. I don't. But I would rather see that call before a pinky grazing a quarterback's helmet after a guy's trying to do what he's been taught since he's a kid. Get your hands on it if you can't get to the quarterback.
No, I mean,
and you accidentally follow through and scrape the guy's face mask with your fingertips. You know what I mean?
You're treating these quarterbacks with kid gloves. I know they're very important, but it's not the fucking game of football. I don't know what the fuck it is.
I don't know what it is either.
And these calls are slanted to certain guys. That's the problem with this.
Oh, absolutely. The superstar calls.
With these whole rules.
It's like that down period in the NBA, in my opinion. When the NBA was overcalling things at times, and superstars always get calls in sports, I understand that. But, see, it can be overdone. Baseball, I see a great pitcher get an extra 2 or 3 inches like Tom Glavine back in the day. I never had a problem with that because he was so good at hitting that point. He had a game plan and a style, and he was good. You know what I'm saying? Jordan or Shaq, great players that get fouled. But some things go overboard. Okay, like the calls in the NFL with the quarterbacks. A James Harden who basically fucking just falls anywhere and flaps people with his hands like a fucking chicken on crack.
Well, I think
he gets the call.
Yeah, because
he gets the line 10 times a game.
The only thing he thinks about is ways he can cheat.
That's what I'm saying. Dirk Nowitzki did. Manu Ginobili was a horrible flopper. I mean, you see it in the NBA every night. You see it in the NFL. And the flopping in the NFL is getting bad. You know what I'm saying? But the quarterbacks, it's just, man, these refs have to get better, man. MLB, to me, and I've said this, I'm a huge MLB fan, obviously, as a Cubs fan for my whole life. But, dude, MLB gets it right. I mean, so many times you're like, man, ever since they started challenging plays the last few seasons, it's been great for the game. Because these guys, what I've been impressed with is how often they're right. These umpires are so spot on. And they did an electronic module about the strike zone. And they said these umpires are so fucking sharp. Because they always talk about a computerized strike zone.
Yeah, they did that several years ago, didn't they?
When they talk about eliminating the home plate umpire, which is strange to me, I don't think it ever makes sense. But some baseball.
It doesn't seem. It seems like it'll drag on the game.
It will. A computer-generated strikes.
Like if you're bitching about.
Think about how bad.
If you're bitching about like dragging on the game to check out these game-breaking fucking interference calls.
Oh no, absolutely. But how many calls is affecting?
How can you do that on? How can you do that on every at bat?
Let's look at football in the last 15, 20 years. The tuck play, this play. There's other ones. A lot of other ones in between. We could do a whole 2-hour episode.
I mean, there's
huge mishaps.
So much of it revolves around bad referee calls. Since Des Bryant
exactly.
touchdown.
The catch rule. Yeah, I mean, come on. The catch rule's been a joke for years. We always
the
joke
NFL
about
doesn't even know what the fucking catch is.
This league has been horrible at officiating for quite some time.
If it wasn't for fantasy football, this league would have folded.
Look, I know we could go ape shit on this for a minute. Let's finish off our technicalities.
But I think we should. We could talk bad about the refs all day because they're fucking terrible. But we can talk about some of the mistakes that the Saints did because they could have blown out this game at several points. But they let the Rams hang around. They let them hang
first
around.
drive, we talk about 6-0. That's a start to me. That's a start.
You can't let the refs beat you when you're a better team than the other one.
Second quarter, fourth quarter. How many points we had combined? 3 fucking points between the second. That's not the way to close a half.
And honestly,
you don't win too many.
With the way they're playing,
the
Patriots would have whooped their ass.
Exactly. I mean, let's be real. The Rams they're obviously a quality opponent. They're in the Super Bowl.
Like the Saints had to play a lot better. The Saints had to play a lot better.
There's no pretenders. You're not getting no pretenders at this point. You don't see any Houston Texans playing in this game, Chris. You're not saying my boy, but you know what I'm talking about. You don't see no damn pretenders in this ball game. There's nothing out there.
Ain't no gumbo.
This is elite teams, and if you don't close out elite teams, 3 points in the closeout each half combined. Not good. I look at the whole situation. We talked about the running game. Kamara was outstanding in a passing attack. He had about 96 yards receiving, I want to say. 11 catches. Mm-hmm. He averaged less than 2 yards a carry on the ground. Ingram was 3-4 on the ground. Not a whole lot better. But here's my thing. I think, and I love Kamara and Ingram, and I'm every drive yelling, go with what got you here. But the running, where were you running? They were losing a matchup inside. Mm-hmm. Sue was getting the breeze untouched on some plays for sacks. Yep. We had Donald, wreaking havoc. Look, that's the best tandem probably in football. Absolutely. Best player in the league.
Sue is playing just as good as he did in the last game.
Right now. Sue is hot. And
he's been waiting all season for the playoffs.
Where's a jet sweep? Where's Kamara on a straight sweep? Where's Ingram off tackle? I want to make these guys go horizontal.
When you have a
brick
wall, you're not going to keep running into
too many
it
blasts, too many dive plays.
Over.
It wasn't working. We went at these guys way too much. We should have went to the outside more. The screen game wasn't used enough. I think Peyton could have went to the screen twice as much as what he did in the ball game.
I saw Kamara was open on nearly every play. Even when he got chucked, he would regain himself and he would be wide open again, across the middle of the field or to the outside.
And like we talked about, if we Kamara had 11 catches, and I know somebody said, what more could he do with 11 catches? No. 14 or 15 might have got us a W.
Michael Thomas has had plenty of 15 catch games.
14 or 15
you go to what's
catches.
Working. You make them stop you.
Kamara was a nightmare for them. 14.
They had no answer at all for him.
And let's just say this: if Kamara is targeted 3 or 4 more times in that ball game, that could be the difference between a W right now.
That might be another first down, another touchdown, another big play.
And another play. Let's go to yet another play. The special teams blunder. I called this shit. A lot of other fans I talked to called it.
My guy CJ Viviano said this guy is a good thrower. Is a good thrower of the football. They always go for it. They always fake it. How do the Saints not on that shit?
Yeah, 4th down.
You gotta have fucking Lattimore. You have to have the fucking Ohio State gang out there.
Who cares about
face guarding every fucking receiver.
Haven't come close to giving. I don't think we came close to having a punt return for a touchdown this season. All right. Why do we care? We're getting the ball back, okay? That's my thing. We're up 13-0 at this point. 13-0. You're getting the ball back. Why do you care? I don't let this guy punt it to my 2-yard line.
Special teams returns hasn't been a strength of the team all year.
We take over with Drew Brees. I don't care if this punter gets it down to the 1 and there's no return. I don't care if it takes a damn Rams bounce and ends up at our 1.
The Saints could do a 99-yard drive.
Absolutely.
If anybody could.
Why the fuck is... Sam Shields one-on-one with Hardy. I know he's Sam fucking Shields and he's a DB, but why do you even take that risk? 2 defenders should be on the outside on each end. We should play this as an absolute fake. I don't care if you don't have a return man.
Yeah.
Let this dude punt the ball as best way he can. Chances are he's going to punt it, it's going to take a bounce, and it's going to be a 45, 50-yard punt at best.
Hardy was running full speed back towards the goal line.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody called a fake. I'm in my living room calling a fake. How did the Saints drop the fucking ball on this? When fans are yelling, watch the fake, watch the fake.
How every household has...
They're desperate. And everybody's like, oh, it's... And my brother-in-law said, again, he's there with me. He's like, there's no way I'm calling fake as soon as the fucking formation's happening. He's like, oh, no way they're going to do that from there on 30. I said, dude, they have nothing going on. They're down 13-0. They have nothing going. McVay is a risk taker. It's less than 5 yards.
They're dead in the water
They're dead in the water. That's their only chance. They getting the ball back at halftime.
They couldn't pick up a first down before.
And let's look at this, 13-0. 13-0. If they get let's say you do, that's why another reason I think they went for it, obviously. If your defense can come up away with a stop, it's 16-0. It's still a 2-possession game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though they took over a good field position. And then, you never know. A sack or a holding call could have knocked you out of field goal range.
Yeah.
So I think McVay was going all the way. Because you punt the ball back to a hot team that's up 13-0 with Drew Brees under center? Ain't no way.
That's dumb. You're inviting yourself to be down 20-0.
Huge fuck up by the Saints right there, and that was one of the plays.
That was the turning point in this game where the fucking Rams really thought they was going to win that game.
Confidence was there.
Yeah.
To me,
they had swag after that moment. They had swag. They had fucking big time swag on the sideline. You could tell they were starting to feel it at that point.
Because
up to that point, they couldn't even tell what was going on in the headset.
No, they were having a hard time. The crowd noise was a factor.
Y'all did a fucking great job.
The fans were amazing. That was one of the most. I've heard people, associated with the game tweeting about it. That was one of the loudest environments ever they've experienced.
And I will admit this. I haven't had a lot of respect for Goff this whole season, but he earned just a little bit of my respect going into that fucking stadium. And putting them in a position to where refs could cheat to get them to the fucking Super Bowl.
And Brandon Cooks, it's funny, we covered it last week, and that was my big guy to be concerned about.
He made a lot of clutch throws.
He was dangerous, 100-yard game receiving. Brandon Cooks was big in this ball game. He stretched the field. I don't know why Lattimore didn't cover him the entire game to be locked on. I was like an Apple more so on Woods. Coming in that game, I changed my mind a little bit on that. But Lattimore has the speed to run with Cooks a little more so than Apple did, and you can still have the safety help. But to me, I think they could have went 100% Lattimore and Brandon Cooks. Another thing that upset me on the defensive side of the ball, too, was the fact that the defensive line, I was yelling the whole time, me and Fantasy Jesus talking every time out during the game. I'm talking with Adam about it. We're saying nobody on the defensive line is making a play. Cam Jordan had a sack in the second half, but for the first 2.5 quarters, there was nobody. We're bringing heat, and we had to bring heat because the front four was not getting a rush. Now, Sheldon Rankins, we knew that was going to hurt a little bit. Maybe it hurt more than what we think. And I didn't see a lot of Marcus Davenport as well. I don't know if they thought the game was too big for him, but I don't care. I'm putting the best athlete on the field at that point. You got
to get a guy with that kind of athleticism, that kind of size, that kind of natural ability. You got to get him on the field and find a way to get him on the field.
Absolutely. I think the Saints need to do a much better job. In year 2, you probably expected you're going to see him more, but I think they should have had him on the field more so in this postseason.
Do you think they have to find another pass rusher, maybe from the linebacker position?
Man, I don't know. I like our pass rush. I think the problem is that keep buying Rankins some time, but it's a little injury.
Rankins might miss the whole year. That's a year-long injury. He's going to be on that pup almost all year.
You are deep at defensive tackle with Onyemata and Davison. They can hold it down, and you can draft somebody. You can come in, draft another young guy there. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know. Defensive end, I wouldn't mind seeing a veteran at a cheap price. If there's a veteran out there that's in free agency, a guy that might be willing to sign a 2-year deal, kind of cheap, just a guy that's a bona fide, like a Chris Long type, that just rushes the passer. I would take that kind of guy right now.
I like the teams that have like multiple guys. Where
the Patriots.
You can keep rotating them out there.
Rob Ninkovich for years. Rob Ninkovich, former Saint draft pick.
That's one of the biggest reasons the Eagles won the Super Bowl last
year. Rotation. They had to specialize rushers. Like that's what I'm saying with Long and the guys.
Because you can't have 4 guys out there all game.
No, you got to rotate. And you got to have the guys that are specialized edge rushers. Like John Abraham was a great one for years. We saw we talked about Kevin Green late in his career became more of a specialized rusher. All the great ones, LT, they get a little less. They become part-time rushers. DeMarcus Ware, but it helps.
But you think maybe they get a big-ass linebacker? Is there that guy out there that can rush off the edge?
I love
and Anzalone Davis in the run.
Klein played a really good season. Klein overachieved a little bit for me. I like AJ Klein, but he played better than I thought he was even capable of.
But I'm saying he's good. He's solid. He's really solid.
Man, I don't know what the defense. The defense to me at this point is about.
But do you need another guy that can rush the passer?
I think a veteran. defensive end.
Like a Michael Bennett type of guy? Like absolutely. Not him, but like a type of guy.
Like I said, the Patriots for years, Rob Ninkovich was a specialist. I mean, he had some double-digit sack years, I want to say, and this guy was just a third-down specialist.
All right,
but you know, we fucked up on the defensive line. I don't think played a good enough ball game to win defensively for us, and I think Lattimore should be on Cooks 100% of the time, or you know, I know it's not always possible that way.
And what sucks is
100% of the
I watched a video. The Rams throughout this whole, you know, towards the end of the season when they weren't playing as well, they gave up a lot of middle pressure, and not having Sheldon Rankins was huge there because I think you're a little susceptible up the middle.
Absolutely. And Dennis Allen, you got a veteran back there in Sullivan, the center. He's getting up there in his age a little bit. I would have took my chances going against him more so than Whitworth and guys like that. I think the A-gap pressure could have been a little more. I didn't see a lot of that. There was a lot of delayed blitzes where we were trying to come off the edge a little more so, and I thought that was a mistake on Goff because Goff could easily run one way. I think the direct pressure and force him to make a decision would have been better off in the A-gap rather than coming from one side, him spotting it and rolling out the opposite direction.
You think up the middle they're trying not to, you know, have your Gurley or whoever's running the ball like leak out.
I mean, but these were a lot of obvious passing situations too, and that's what upset me as well. These were a lot of obvious pass situations, and I don't know, man. I just think they could have did some things schematically a little bit different. I wasn't upset with the defense overall. I think the defense did a nice job, but the defensive line could have made more plays. And I think, you know, like I said, the Lattimore and Cooks thing, I think you could have maybe cut Cooks' yards in half, which could have been huge.
But I think, you know, one of the biggest things, and, you know, the ammo that, you know, most people that are Rams fans or even a lot of Saints fans, you know, kind of pissed, is the play calling when they had first down on the 15-yard line at the end of the game, and you switched out to a throw play when you could have had them with no timeouts and under a minute.
That was a horrible
on the
call.
clock.
That should have been a time. You should have been getting your timeouts at that point. I mean, I understand it was a safe throw.
You take all of their timeouts.
Safe throw, but why not just run the ball, hand the ball to Ingram or come out?
And I love, and
you know, I'm the most yards on first down and get the timeout.
I'm the guy who loves aggressive play. Yeah. Like I champion it all the time, but there, you need to take their timeouts and leave them at the mercy of 45 seconds to go about 40, 50 yards. You kick it deep. They have to get to like what, the 45, the 40.
It's a situation
even with Greg DeLeg, they still have to go 40 yards in like 45 seconds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's another thing. Speaking of Greg DeLeg, that's another reason they won this ball game. They were better on special teams overall. You know, Zerline, I give that dude some credit, man. 57-yard field goal is no gimme. I mean, I was actually kind of, you know, thinking this could definitely go wrong for them, and he misses that field goal.
He could have made that shit from 65. That would have been a fucking league record.
That's what I'm saying. He drilled
he lived for
it wasn't
that
even close. I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, he had some other ones early in the ballgame that was scooting off a little bit to the right, and but he drilled that fucking kick. But if he misses that kick, short field, Drew Brees, you can win the ballgame 15, 20 yards.
Saints are at the 50-yard
game over.
Saints are at midfield.
You got to give that fucker credit for making the field goal. I mean, their special teams are a little bit better. And, you know, I mean, man, I think McVay matched Peyton. If not, you know, I know a lot of Saints fans are going to hate hearing that, but I think his coaching, for what they did with the crowd noise, I think you have to say it either matched or exceeded Coach Peyton in this ball game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, Peyton was...
And that's a tough thing to say, but let's be
Peyton
real.
was a little off. He had a lot of questionable calls. He brought out Taysom Hill on a...
Yeah, where was Taysom Hill at?
You know, early in the game, he brought him out on a third. I think it was about 3rd and 4. Taysom Hill needs to be out there on short yardage. He doesn't need to be out there where he needs to scan the field and find 4 or 5 yards.
Because he's still not ready to be that player yet.
Because he's going to either run the ball or he's going to chuck it. He's not going to give you those short...
You're asking a guy on a big stage like that to go ahead and do that. I think that's a little much. Yeah, where was he on a lot of the 3rd and shorts? I mean, or 2nd and shorts even. I mean, to me, you know, here's my thing. I appreciate Zach Line, but on 2nd and 2 or whatever it was at one time, you get the ball to Zach Line, he gets 3 yards for the first. Why not let Taysom have a read option, and if it doesn't look good, hand it off to the running back, go fall forward for 1. Or if you got a good look, that's a play that could turn into a 20-yard gain for Taysom Hill with his speed.
And the Saints missed a lot of opportunities on 2nd and short, you know, a few times where they could have played action. They were around midfield. Yeah. You know, I think that's where you play action. I think you 2nd and short. You know, instead you do another run up the middle, you lose 2 yards, and now it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4.
2 or 3 more Wildcat plays, and I'm not a huge fan of the Wildcat by any stretch, but 2 or 3 of those plays to throw in there to make Sue and Donald run the sidelines a little bit in that first half could have went a long way in keeping them tired.
Sue and Donald, you have to challenge them horizontally.
Yeah, you got to make them run, especially Sue. I mean, you know, he's been around for a long time now.
But if you're running everything up the middle, you bringing the game to him.
I mean, you aided them. Yeah, absolutely. You didn't make it tough enough on them. You didn't use your tackles Ramczyk and Armstead, two of the best in the probably arguably the best tackle tandem in the league. Maybe Philly will argue that a little bit with Peters and Lane Johnson, but one of the best tackle tandems in the league.
The Saints did a lot of terrible things. They had some really terrible calls. Drew played all right. He missed.
It wasn't a Drew Brees game.
It wasn't a game that. It wasn't like one of his all-time games.
One of the hottest players in football.
But
did a great job against him.
Fuck all that. The fucking refs fucked them because the fucking Saints was right there with the game.
Yeah. Don't get twisted. Get twisted. We're talking some things that we did bad, but let's be real. The refs and Roger Goodell, you need to be fucking held accountable. You should lose your fucking position with all the shit that's happened in the NFL.
This ain't even about the refs. This goes way above the fucking
Where's
refs.
your statement? Where's your statement, my man? That's what I'm saying. This has been called. This isn't people are making fun of this everywhere. The league looks like a joke right now.
And
we're worried about players in politics.
And how does this asshole get a fucking extension being so fucking terrible?
It's a joke.
Somebody got a fucking extension.
Who got the paycheck? Because that's what we're going to get to. Yeah, we covered some things, and we're going to flip it a little bit. Because let's be real. Tommy Lee Lewis ended the ball game. We've seen enough. We don't even have to analyze it. 3 referees that all have Los Angeles ties or Rams ties, however you want to call it, missed one of the worst calls ever in sports.
What?
It is a joke.
When the guy that did it
admitted it immediately.
When the guy that did it, that actually committed the fucking crime, can't even lie to the media.
That looks so bad for the league.
He can't even lie. He can't even lie. It's so egregious.
How many times you see
How many guys like, I don't know. I was there. He was there. It was a bang bang play.
Yeah, bang bang play.
He said I interfered with that motherfucker because I was beat.
He said he gets up and he hears the fans cheering, and this motherfucker gets up and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I knew they got me, man. I heard the fans. I was like, shit, we got to, they got me." He admitted it. He knew he was flagged.
What he said was,
when he
I
looked
was
up
beat.
And said, "Ain't no damn way."
He said, I was beat.
He couldn't believe it.
They would have scored a fucking touchdown. We were not going to the Super Bowl, so I ran through that motherfucker.
Yep.
And no call.
He was trying to say it. That's why he was trying to get the penalty because he knew it was a touchdown.
And the referee's like this, 2 feet away.
Yeah, that's like an automatic. That was an intentional foul. Like, nobody's even saying that word up. That was a pull. Like, if a guy beats you, grab him and pull him down.
That's a goddamn flagrant. That's a fucking flagrant too. You get ejected from that in basketball.
He intentionally made interference with him so they could have a shot to fight in the goal line situation with Sue and Donald. He knew that was a penalty. He knew he was beat. That was a touchdown.
He knew it was a touchdown.
He wanted the ball at the 3 or 4 yard line to give themselves a fighting chance. That was a desperation move to tackle the fucking player before the ball got there. He knew it. He saw it. He felt he was beat.
Well,
Tommy Lewis is quick. He's going to the sideline. Game over.
This is so many penalties. Like, you could fucking take your pick. It's face guarding, which is pass interference. You got helmet to helmet, unnecessary roughness. Where do you want to begin? Where do you want to end?
I've seen so many bullshit defenseless receiver calls the last couple seasons. How is that not defenseless receiver? That's like the last one I would even bring up, but how is it not? And the funny thing about this is, this dude gets away with it, admits it. Everybody's laughing about it.
The problem is he got away with that.
The referees were in perfect position for the
He
call.
knew he can do that because he got away with that shit all game. Fucking game.
But I'll tell you, I don't think he even expected to get away with it this time. I think he did it to protect. He wanted to give them a shot, put the ball at the spot of the foul. Let's hopefully we could goal line stand right here.
I remember at least 3 occasions where they close up, where he interfered with somebody, did a close up, and he was looking around like
he couldn't believe it.
He couldn't believe they didn't call. Yeah, he's like, I can't believe it. This game's actually fucking fixed.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what happens too is some of the idiot Rams fans. I'm sorry, some of y'all are fucking stupid. And it's just that simple.
Y'all ain't even real. I don't even. Y'all didn't fucking.
They're not. But I'll tell you, they.
If you didn't like them when they were with fucking, if you didn't like them when they were with St. Louis, then you're fucking fake fans because that team just got there.
They talk about getting the LA market. Now they had 1.2 viewers supposedly out of the massive LA market. They said 30% of that market watched the game. We were so much higher of our metro market. That goes to show you how. Yeah. I understand there's a lot to do in LA, but guess what? 30% of your fans watch this game. That's horrible. You're a shit fan base. But here's my thing.
I don't know
it was not a catchable ball. I've read 5 different tweets, believe it or not, in the last few days where somebody said it wasn't catchable. How in the fuck was that not catchable?
The ball landed right by his fucking feet.
That's what I'm saying.
After he was shoved.
There's no way to dispute it, and it didn't even matter.
He was shoved
when the ball was in air.
He was shoved 3 yards, and it still landed right by his feet.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even care if it's a catchable ball. It's an illegal fucking contact. It's something. It's the worst interference ever. How is it not catchable? It was the most catchable ball.
But they said, what about that face mask?
Oh, fuck their face mask and fuck your whistle shit. I hear some people crying about the whistle. Grow the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? It's a noisy environment. Playoff football, bitch. But here's my thing.
If you don't like it, get home field.
Is our boy Marco in the house or what?
I don't know.
We got Marco, man.
Let's see. I
think we got another guy want to step in here. One of our guys, Marco Lorio, wanted to get on here and kind of give his point of the ball game. He has a little more of a different take than what we have from what I'm hearing.
We're gonna see. If we have to
if we gotta beat the shit out of this guy verbally, then that's what we're gonna have to do. We're not those kind of people. But if he talks shit about the Saints, we might have to,
Yeah. Keep it going.
We're going to see what's going on, but Cisco's got to try to get him on there. Once again,
he's
David,
a local rapper.
Cisco, our boy Poncho is usually sitting on one of these sides, but he's missing tonight.
What's the Twitter? Let everybody know what the
Twitter is at RatedR504 Sports. We're coming up. We're pretty new. We've only been potting for a few months. I know we still kind of suck. We got to get better. But we started a YouTube channel. We got a Twitter following that's pretty good so far. We're going to get this shit rolling. Do we have our
I'm calling. I'm seeing if he wants to get in. Where is he?
Is he on there?
He's on. We're live with Marco Lorio.
There we go.
Can you hear you? Hey, don't get into no accident.
Oh, shit.
Try to talk shit about the Rams and get into an accident. That'll be a bad karma for you.
That kid.
I'm ready up there. Let's do this. I'm ready. Where y'all at? Tell me catch me up.
We just completely broke down the game.
Broke down the game. We just trying to get your take because we just broke down the whole game and how the Saints did some things wrong, but the refs were still shit.
The Saints did a lot of shit wrong.
Yeah, but the refs.
Can you agree with that?
Horrible.
The Saints fucked up a lot of shit.
Then we get good.
But do y'all agree that the Saints choked their second chance in OT?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there was an issue. That's another play. I think the refs should have blew that play.
What about the hands to the helmet?
People say that too. That Breeze, it could have been called on Breeze too. But I do think. I mean, yeah, because you were. The upsetting thing was you had good field position right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Marco was saying, I think you did blow an opportunity for sure. I mean, the England play, I agree with the play call.
They had a second chance.
But give them credit. The Rams.
But after you've been cheated like that, it's hard to recover.
It is. It's an emotional. Overtime. But you know what? In order to win championship, you got to come away an emotional letdown.
I do.
Cubs
That's a good point.
Game 7 of the World Series. Cubs blew a lead. Bottom of the 8th inning in Cleveland. They had the total momentum.
You have to have the mental toughness.
I'm banging my head into the wall.
You have to have the mental toughness if you're given another chance.
They did? They had a rain delay, and they come back and win the World Series the next inning. So, I mean, in order, championship teams have to come through adversity. So that's definitely a good point by Marco right there, man.
What else did you see?
An example is Atlanta, and who did Atlanta lost to? The Patriots.
Yeah, absolutely, Pat. Super Bowl, 28-3.
Yeah, we never miss an opportunity to shit on the Falcons. we never miss an opportunity to shit on them.
That's right.
Nah.
Go ahead.
I don't know, but why did he throw that freaking ball? Drew should have. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's probably one hit, one back for sure. He should have maybe just took the sack or tried to get out the pocket a little more and throw it away because that was he had to see a defender on him. I mean,
you have to throw that out of bounds.
That's probably one that he would like back. Probably the one throw this season he'd want back, you know. Because I agree. Like at that point, it's hard with the game moving that fast. But I mean, if he could have it back, I think he would just tuck it away and take the sack, you know. Because I mean, at least you give your defense. I mean, the defense at that point has a chance. I mean, if it's 3rd and 20 or whatever at that point, you run a conservative play maybe, or you take a shot deep. But you still have a chance to punt the other team the ball or throw a deep ball. If worst case scenario gets intercepted and then start. Yeah, I mean they might be on their own 15 or 20 yard line. You know, at that point, instead of one first down, winning them a ball game. You know.
Yeah, so they had chances to come back.
Saints definitely had some chances. I mean, it's a little upsetting on that part. You know.
I heard somebody tell me that even though he threw that ball, the guy that was defending Thomas had completely turned him away from the direction of the ball.
Oh yeah, that could have been. Yeah, they said there was a lot of contact on that play.
A
lot of people saying that too because if the ball. I mean, was his hand hit or the ball technically hit? I mean, I was so disgusted at that point.
You said Breeze?
On the play.
Breeze?
Mark was talking about the end. That said, was his arm his hit, right?
Yeah, they hit his arm.
That's the point, too. If that's not a tip ball, like Marco was saying, when that ball was in the air, the dude, like, basically spun him around like it was fucking Patrick Swayze.
No, the ball wasn't. I don't believe the ball was tipped.
That's what I'm saying. That's what, like, Marco was saying right there. Like, the guy was getting away with murder on Thomas. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, the ball was never tipped. It was an arm, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, so I'm saying that should have been up, like Mark was saying right there. That's a foul nobody talks about as well. And to me, the Ingram thing, why is that play not blown? How many times do you see a runner and they still got to have a fighting chance? The referee blows it dead.
You're talking about
where
he was
yards.
He lost like a half a yard.
Well, yeah, what's Ingram going to do? He can just give up. They didn't blow a whistle.
And then they pushed him back, but you already, it's a thing called forward progress.
Yeah, he pushed him to let go, and it should have been forward progress. That would have been 2nd and 11 maybe, or 2nd and 10.
Only in Madden does that shit actually work like that.
In 2nd and 16, maybe Breeze felt a little more like, hey, this is my down. I got to pick up some yards here. It's 2nd and long right now. Think about it. If it's 2nd and 10 right there, you have a lot more of an open playbook. You could even call a little, safe quick out or something like that, or a screen play and get 5 or 6 yards in the worst case scenario. But 2nd and 16, you got to make up a chunk of yards. You don't want it 30 and 10 or
you need 8 or 10 yards to even be in a workable fucking down and distance.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Marco. And not a lot of people are bringing that up enough about that. But Thomas, I mean, like the first 2 plays, it was bad. I mean, you know what I'm saying? After the interference could have been called on Thomas possibly. Ingram with the ref again. I mean, and I hate to keep bringing the refs into it, but man, you're stopped. Ingram's not going to stop running. That dude's a hard fucking runner. He doesn't give up on any play.
Those 2 plays were made by a team that was already mentally
that might be the
frustrated,
point. That might be the point.
Broken a little bit. Some guys,
I mean, it's upsetting. I mean, this is 2 seasons in a row, 2 horrible mental breakdowns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, last year there's nobody to blame.
There's nobody to blame last year. It was just us. Absolutely. I mean, I watched that whole game. We never cried last year and said, "Oh, we got screwed." No, that Minnesota deserved every bit of that, and it came out of one unfortunate play. Great ball game though between those 2 teams, but this year. The referees had way too much to do with this ball game. The referees had way too much to do with this game. Even the Saints did not play a perfect game.
I would say about this about the Saints, kind of like, bringing myself back into a bigger view. The Saints have fucking lost some of the worst ways you could ever imagine. Like how many good teams have lost in the manner.
Maybe since you got the
Marshawn Lynch,
the beast mode. That's what I'm saying.
You got Vernon Davis.
With Alex Smith, single coverage, covering their best player.
Nobody on the Saints could tackle him by the penis at all.
No. But why not? Why, on that Vernon Davis play years ago, why are we single covering the one guy? That receiving core was horrible. I could have made number 2 receiver on that team.
They had Crabtree at that point?
I think he might have been their one.
That was when he was
and it was Alex Smith. He doesn't throw wide receivers, you know what I'm saying? Unless he's got Tyreek Hill.
Unless you got Tyreek Hill, you can just throw it anywhere.
But you had fucking a team with awful receivers. Vernon Davis is one of the biggest weapons at tight end in the league at that point.
Absolutely.
You single cover him with a fucking safety. Are you kidding me? Why is your number 1 corner not on him, or you're doubling him? That game, we lost that game. Yeah, I don't think our defensive line played well at all. I think our D-line didn't make a play. They weren't making too many individual plays. You didn't see what the Rams were doing on our end. Like, Sue and Donald made individual plays early in that ball game. Our defensive line, they played well in the first drive or 2, but after that, you didn't see the playmaking. Nobody's beating their guy getting to the quarterback. Nobody's busting through the line.
You weren't getting Goff off of his point. He was in the same position. He didn't have to move.
The crowd came ready to play. It was noisy in there, and I mean, like Mark was saying, if you make a few more plays at D-line, man.
You hit him a couple of times, he starts hearing that crowd, you bust his head up a little bit.
Exactly.
It becomes a mental thing. He can lose confidence really fast and
Right, they didn't help us at all. We put Goff in too comfortable of a situation. That's for sure.
I still believe you can mentally defeat Goff quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel when I looked at the game and I saw, it looks like they got the Rams they're playing our game, crowd's going crazy.
Yeah.
As soon as they did that crazy fake play, our defense was like, whoa.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. That changed the whole that's what we were talking about earlier. That changed the complexion of the game to me, man.
You could tell the body language changed at that point. The body language
after the fake punt, that was such a big moment of that ball game. It looked like he said they looked on their heels. They were backed up. The aggressiveness kind of died a little bit. We're not seeing the A-gap pressure. We're seeing softer zones. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know what was happening. It's like, but like you said, you didn't see the fire like the first 2 drives. That first 2 drives, they came out ready to play. You can go rewind that shit. And that first 2 drives, they looked like that defense was going to give up a touchdown.
They had the look.
I mean, they had the look of a team that might shut them down to 2 field goals. They had that look. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, and after the fake, everything changed. Like Mark was saying, and to me, we blew so many opportunities in that first half. And like we were talking about as well, between the second and fourth quarter, we only had 3 combined points. 1 field goal in the end of each half. How does that happen?
Did it seem like
a team that's traditionally very good in that?
Did it seem to you that they were putting a lot of emphasis on trying to stop the run?
I think so. I think they were too worried about them controlling the clock. I don't understand that because to me, when you had the lead at 13-0, you should have been pinning your ears back and forcing C.J. Anderson to beat you because Gurley wasn't even playing. Gurley hardly played.
You got to blitz the shit out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm making C.J. fucking Anderson beat
you. You have enough big bodies where you can stop him with your front four.
You're the best run defense in the league. Why are you not sending more pressure in the passing game? You know what I mean? Yeah. Why is it not coming? There should have been 5 or 6 guys at the line every play. Having Goff can't hear what he's thinking. You made it too comfortable sending 1 extra guy sometimes or 2.
Send a safety, fucking do something different. Like, look, this is the NFC Championship game.
What did Robert Woods do in this game? Eli Apple and Lattimore shut him the fuck down. Robert Woods didn't do shit. So you had Robert Woods already out. They don't have shit for tight end. Cooks is the one guy you have to cover. I'm keeping Marcus Williams back there. Lattimore's on Cooks. I'm single covering everybody else in the team, and I'm bringing 6 guys, sometimes 7 guys up front.
So this fall on the defensive coordinator.
I think Allen needed to be more aggressive. I think he did call some blitzes, and I know there was a play. Everybody will go back to a series. I think in the second half where the Rams eventually scored, but they went 3 straight kind of heavy pressures than what he normally does. He didn't change up anything, but I agree. I don't think it was and some people say, "Oh, we shouldn't have blitzed that 3rd time." Me and Adam disagreed on that, but I think you keep it going. I think you keep the best defenses in the league. Bring pressure. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. You have to keep bringing pressure, confusing the quarterback, trying to force a mistake. Like your defensive line's doing nothing all game. The 4-man rush is not going to do it. Let's not get twisted.
Make him try to throw it 50 with pressure in his face.
Let him try to go to Brandon Cooks with Marcus Williams already backed up 20 yards downfield with Lattimore on him. You know, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
I mean,
in every long incompletion like that crowd would go crazy every single time he fucked one of those up.
Cooks, and I like Cooks. I'm a big fan of Cooks. I mean, I know he's the enemy last Sunday, but I mean, I'm a big,
anybody that thinks Cooks is not the wide receiver 1.
Oh, he's the best receiver in
real life. I mean, you can say whatever you want.
He's got the juice, and it sucks because I was warning everybody about Cooks. I remember that was kind of one of my things. I think you might have made that point too. Poncho was talking about something else, but we were talking about Cooks could be the biggest factor because I didn't think Woods had a good matchup with Lattimore or Eli Apple, but Cooks with his speed in his old backyard, you know what I'm saying? He's a guy that steps up to me. I think Cooks could be a special player in this league. I just don't think he got enough love. I think he needs more targets. If you want my honest opinion.
Honestly, I think they're going to need him
in the
to
Super
step
Bowl.
up huge.
How about that?
If he can get revenge on New England, he can help that team win the Super Bowl.
Isn't that crazy? And I mean, I know the Saints fans, we don't want to talk about it too much, but the Rams, Brandon Cooks could go beat both of his old 2 teams that gave up on him and win a Super Bowl.
Damn.
Is that crazy shit?
Does he write a book after that?
Brandon Cooks might become a folk hero. I tell you this, on the prop bets, they have the betting sites. Yeah. I'm betting that motherfucking Super Bowl MVP right now, man. As much as I hate to say that, I don't want the Rams to win, but I'll take winning some money.
You could probably win like a couple grand on a $20 bet. Do it now. Don't do it.
Hey, we got to find that out. Is Cooks going to be... What's the odds on that? I bet you he's one of the high guys, though, in this game.
Who's that?
When they do prop bets in this game. He's probably one of the
Cooks
highest.
Has to be.
He's got to be one of the... He's the best receiver playing in this game.
Honestly,
I like Edelman a lot, but
who might have a good game?
Gronk.
No, because the Patriots always
Gronk. I mean, I think the Patriots. You can't count them out. You can't count them out.
The Patriots always going to try to take out the biggest threat. So they're going to try to take out Brandon Cooks. They might leave Robert Woods in Robert Woods, they're going to leave in a lot of one-on-one.
They could, but can he beat?
And he's going to have a big game in the Super Bowl, and everybody's still going to think he's the wide receiver 1.
But that's right. It could happen.
That's already set up.
When you put Stephon Gilmore and Woods and just forget he even exists, and then just double Cooks, because they're so efficient in doubling over the years. The Patriots double Cooks, go single coverage with one of the best corners in the league. Same way we, kind of tried to do. Yeah. We did. I mean, we took Woods out of the equation.
Yeah. Who was that guy last week?
Who's that?
Sammy Watkins.
Hey, man.
That dude could get 1,000 yards by osmosis if you just play 16 games.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, that offense is spectacular. But what y'all think, man? The Patriots? Man, it's going to be interesting, man. What you think about that?
Oh, man. I like